Friends, Tom here. Welcome to tennis. Not playing on quite the easiest difficulty, but I will be honest, when I started this project, I had hope I would be able to do a little bit better than 2 out of 5, but you know, that's where we are. This game ended up being way harder than I expected to. I mean, honestly, it's not that hard. I was just playing like an idiot. Once I stopped being an idiot, this got a lot easier. If you've never played tennis before or you're not familiar with it, the scoring is a little bit unique. So a game is played to 60 points, and the pointing goes 15, 30, 40, 60. Also, you have to be. Wait, I don't know what I'm talking about. It would go to 60, but we don't actually see that on the screen. I'm not sure like what the official rules are, but once it's 40 to 40, you have to win by 2 points, which I'm explaining this poorly. If we ever see it come up, we'll go more into that. But you see right now it's 40 to 15. So if I get this next point, I win the game. And man, this guy is good at volleying today. I'm kind of glad I played on difficulty 2 and not 1, because the level 1 guy cannot volley at all. It would be a very boring match. Come on. Okay, there we go. Finally. All right, so I won the first game. There, I don't know how to explain this. It's so complicated. Okay, so once you win a game, right, you need to win the set next. And you do that by being the first to win 6 games. But again, you have to win by 2, so if it's 6 to 6, like you have to win like 1 or 2 more or something like that. Again, it's complicated. I don't fully understand. All right. So then you've won the set. And then you have to win the best of 3 sets to win the full match. Which is, maybe this makes sense in professional tennis. In an NES game like this, I feel like I'd like to be able to just play a tennis game and get things wrapped up on the quicker side. Maybe just 1 set or something. It feels obnoxious to have to do an entire match, which is going to be at minimum 12 games if you win or lose every single one. Right? It's yeah, I just wish there were a fast option or something like that, but it is what it is. I'm impressed that they stuck this closely to the rules in a simple game like this, but they did put effort in. Okay, looks like I'm doing a little bit better this game. I got absolutely humiliated last time. It took me forever to figure out how to hit those serves when they go like far to the outside, but like you can actually go off the court, which it feels weird, so I didn't do it at first, and I would never be able to hit them. Also, I have no idea how to control the ball once you hit it. I'm starting to get some intuition, like by changing how far to the side you are, that does have some impact, but I'm certainly not able to call my shots. Okay, yeah, see how far to the outside you have to get there to return it? It's obnoxious. So that was a lob shot. You do that by hitting B. It goes kind of high and slower like that. And apparently, if they're up by the net, lob shots are better. I have not found that to play out in practice as much, but that's what people say. Okay, but he did miss that one, so it worked out for me that time. I feel like he's just as likely to hit it, though. So when I started learning this game, I could not believe how hard it was. Like I could not hit a single ball Like, just nothing was working. And like, do you need superhuman reflexes to play this or something? And then I realized I had the emulation speed set to 200% from my previous Ice Climbers video experiment. And when I set it back to normal speed, oh my god, it got so much easier. But, um, I still couldn't win a game, right? I figured out how to serve it some of the time. And I got pretty consistent with that. Um, Maybe when we get to the next game here, I'll talk a little bit about that because there's a special technique I use. It's not that complicated, but there is a technique I use, right? So on the internet, they're saying you want to hit the ball as it goes up and not come down, and I could not figure out how to time that. But if you just mash A, you'll hit it on the way up. It'll go into the area it's supposed to go, and sometimes he just sucks at hitting it. So that's what I've been doing. It worked out pretty well. The second problem I was having is I was trying to return the serve way too far forward. I was like not giving it time to bounce, so like it was hitting off the ground and I'd be swinging, I guess, over it or something. And even when I did manage to nick it, it wouldn't go anywhere near where I wanted. And eventually I noticed that when the computer player was returning the serves, he was standing on that back line there. And that gives me time to see where the ball goes after it bounces up. I get a little bit more time to plan my shots, and oh my god, it made such a difference. Um, until I figured that out, I was pretty miserable. Like I was training this game for like a week straight, and just looking at the score on the screen, it looked like I was not making any progress at all. Right? It's like every single game I just lose, I don't get any points. And it's really discouraging when you see that. But I think part of it is, you've got to focus on the right thing. If you're in the gym and you want to do a pull-up, right? But you're not strong enough to do pull-ups yet. You can't be measuring your success based on how many pull-ups you can do because it's going to take some effort before you can even get one, right? And if all you're looking at is how many pull-ups you can do, that number's just gonna be zero until you can start doing pull-ups, right? And then even though you're still getting stronger with what you're doing, you're gonna think you're not making any progress, right? You gotta find something else to focus on. So I started looking at, okay, like, can I hit the ball when he serves it? I don't care if it goes out. I don't care if it slams into the net. I just want to be able to hit it. So that's what I was focusing on. And it's harder to appreciate that when the score is staring you straight in the face and it's all zero. But I did my best to focus on just hit the ball after he serves it. And eventually it got better and better and better. And once it finally clicked, I started winning. And once it finally clicked, suddenly the game was easy. Right? All that work was paying off. If I had only looked at the score, it would have looked like I wasn't making any progress at all. But the progress was still there. I just didn't have enough for it to manifest in terms of the score, right? So, yeah, what you focus on is so important. Like in terms of both your attitude and motivation. I was feeling so discouraged until I had that realization. And oh, so here the score is I have an A. That means advantage, right? So we were tied 40-40, which is called a deuce. Then I got an extra point, so I have the advantage. And I need to score again in order to win, right? If he had scored instead, then it would have been back to 40-40 and it would be another deuce. And then we have to go through this whole process over and over and over again. And oh my god, if you're evenly matched, that would be so exhausting. All right, looks like I'm cleaning up pretty well here. Oh, this is actually my first time playing on the difficulty 2. Like at first, I just played with 1, and that's how I started recording this. And then I realized like I was just winning so easily that it would not be interesting at all. So this is my first time playing on 2. I think I'm doing pretty well. Honestly, at this rate, I probably could have gone to 3, but I'm going to focus on I'm going to focus on my success. I put in a lot of work to get the skill that I have. I'm able to play at not the lowest difficulty, which it's that's typically I'd like to have a higher bar than that, but that's what it is right now. Maybe when I play another tennis game, the training I've done here will play off. I'll bump it a little bit higher. But yeah, we're on 2 here. We're doing pretty well for ourselves. We won the first match. Well, no, we won the first set. And if we win the second set, we win the match. And okay, that guy just hit it into the net, which is a fault, and he gets to try again. Which is something about the rules like I don't understand. And maybe if there's a tennis nerd in the audience, you can tell me why this rule makes sense and why I'm wrong. But it seems to me that serving the ball is the easiest part of tennis, right? Because there's nothing getting in your way. Like your opponent can't interfere with you getting the ball over the net the first time. So, if you're playing tennis and you can't even do that, like why do you get an extra chance? Like that's just the easiest part of it, and you just messed up. Let's I feel that just should just be a point for the other guy. But I'm sure I'm not smarter than decades of tennis tradition. There's probably a good reason that I don't understand. Um, it is what it is. I'm trying to be less judgmental about things, especially where I don't have experience, because just the world is so much bigger than what I imagine. I had an adult piano student once, and teaching adults is way less fun than teaching kids. Just kids have a natural attitude that points them in the right direction, and with adults, their attitude often gets in the way, and you have to fight through that a lot more. But anyway, he was asking me about how to use the pedal, and I gave him a kind of subjective answer because it's a subjective thing, and his response was, well, it sounds like somebody should really standardize this, which it struck me as really arrogant. Like you've just started learning. It's you're not going to have a better understanding of this than the people who have been studying this their entire lives, right? And it's a tricky line to act because there are definitely things that are stale. There is room for innovation, but you do have to understand stuff before you can criticize it effectively and come up with a better way of doing things. And I do not understand tennis, right? My ideas about it are probably incredibly stupid, right? But they're still my opinions. I'm not going to pretend I don't have them. I just need to realize that nobody cares, right? It's they don't amount to very much in this context. But hey, it's my video, so you've got to listen to them anyway. Man, this guy cannot get it over the net. I'll take the free points, sure. Sometimes it just goes really easy like that, and sometimes he can really fit in a good volley there. I guess, man. Seeing how he's playing right now, I kind of regret not going up to difficulty 3, but too late to back out now. And, apparently I suck too, so I can't get too cocky here. All right, 3 more games and we win. Let's see if we can do it. I have been playing pretty far in the back here, so I haven't been able to show off a spike yet. But again, I do feel it's kind of risky to move up because, typically the ball's going to be like pretty far over your head there, right? I feel like it's going to be way harder to hit, but I'm doing pretty well. Maybe at some point I should dance forward and try for a spike. Not Wrecking Crew spike, tennis spike, of course. And it would be really convenient if I knew how to control the direction of the ball. So I could hit it, away from him and make him have to chase it, but all I can really do is hit it over the net, so that's what I'm going to do and hope he messes up. Come on. No! I'd let him score. That was a pretty good volley, though. Like, I'm happy with how long I was able to last there. All right, he's heading up to the net. See, that's why I'm afraid of going up to the net, because there's just so much less room to maneuver if he hits it, like, in a different direction. Oh. Now, why did that happen? I would love to have better control there, but maybe in the next tennis game I play. I'm sure there will be others. Okay, I am really sucking in this game. I don't know what's going on. Okay, there we go. There we go, back on schedule. And if he starts winning, this is going to be embarrassing. Okay, just one more. Can we do this, please? One more game. I hope. I mean, I could still lose a game and have to do another one. We'll see. No! No! Stay in the bloody box, you ball! Apparently, like, if you're playing doubles, you do have a little bit more room. You get those lines on the outside too, but I'm the only one playing, so we're not going to do that. Man, we are having a dramatic neck-and-neck game for the final game of the entire match, which is, I wish I could say I was doing that on purpose to make a dramatic video for y'all, but I do not have that much control over things. Still, I'll take it, I'll take the free drama. I have a very bad feeling he's going to score here. Come on. No! If I just knew how to control it, I'd have won by now. Oh, come on. No, 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 no. I cannot lose this. No, I cannot lose the final game. Well, it won't be the final game if I lose, but you know what I mean. Come on. Come on. All right, we got a little bit closer to the net that time. Game sped up there. Like, you really need good reflexes for that to work. All right, I have the advantage now. Can I get the final point? I hope so. I am tired of playing tennis. All right, there we go. So, like the other NES games I've played so far, this game got more fun once I figured out how to play and picked up a little bit of skill. When you get a volley goal going back and forth, that's it's pretty satisfying. And the way the ball bounces, like it feels good. I like there's an actual swing, and you have to, you know, keep in your mind where the racket's going to go and how that interferes with the path of the ball. I feel like that there's just these little things that add a little bit of depth and realism to it that make it feel really good. I wish it were more clear how to control where the ball goes. That was really frustrating when it just went out of bounds, and I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong to make that happen. But again, I feel like that I felt I was slowly getting a feel for it with more experience, and maybe if I spent another week, I'd just pick up some more intuitive control there, even if I couldn't explicitly say, this is what I'm doing to send the ball over there. Well, that was tennis. Thank you for joining me. Next LP, the Lego Lord of the Rings is still going, but the next like real LP is Super Mario Brothers, which is the last of the NES launch titles that I am able to play without the fancy peripherals. So that is very exciting, and I look forward to playing that with you next time.